Hey, welcome to Scaling with Confidence. I'm Olu Sobanjo, entrepreneur, coach, consultant, and pastor, here to bring you dynamic conversations with high level individuals who are scaling 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses. We believe that every entrepreneur has a unique story and purpose that can inspire others and positively impact the world. And if you are an entrepreneur who's ready to share your journey and insight, visit scalingwithconfidence.com/guest to apply to be a guest on the show. You are going to love this show. You're going to hear real stories from real people who are ready to inspire, challenge, and empower you. We don't just talk business strategy, we dive deep into the personal stories, challenges, and mindset that come with scaling a successful business. So let's go. Amber Griffith, it's such a pleasure to have you here on the Scaling with Confidence Summit. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Why don't you tell us what you do and yeah, who do you help?
Oh, all the exciting stuff.
Yes.
The company is called Your Brand by Design, but I'm a brand strategist, and more specifically, I am a maker of legends, like for reals. Um, it's so fun and it's so fabulous. So it's sometimes it's hard to believe that this is what I get to do. But it's all from creating your brand. And so I work with speakers and coaches and business owners to move through that. I'm unique and I know what I'm doing into unforgettable, which is absolutely critical, into legend. And it comes from taking everything that who you are, your personality, your values, the way you deal with relationships inside and outside of business, and you combine those all into what I call your persona. And that's what has to come through your brand to really deliver that unforgettable experience. So it's entirely possible. Every business, regardless of budget, regardless of size, regardless of how long you've been in business or how long you want to be in business, it's absolutely possible to step onto that path to legend and make it your own. So that's what I get to do. And I've been doing it for 15 years and I just love it. I still just am excited about what I get to do.
Wow, wow. Did you see the smile on my face? I was like, what? Who's this lady? I love every single choice of word, and it shows that you're a brand strategist. Wow, for real. All right, all right. So now, why don't you tell us how did you get started in doing this?
Oh, that it was not the first day. Um, in fact, when I first launched my business, I had been in marketing. My title was VP of Marketing for a real estate firm. I never had my license or anything like that. And it was a really fancy title that really didn't mean a whole lot to me. And I'd spent about 9 years there and kept thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. I'm meant for bigger than this. I just know it. And it took a while. And finally, like I'm listening to that voice, and I know you've all heard it, that there's more, there's more. Let's go get it. There's more. And I finally jumped. And I have never looked back. I have loved what I've been doing. Um, Marketing is great and graphic design is great. But even when I left the first probably 3 years, I think I had a really lucrative job. I was still working so many hours and I was doing things that I didn't really want to do. Like they just didn't light me up. So it took probably 3 or 4 years before I could speak about what I was doing. I mean, 15 years ago, I didn't speak about being a brand strategist because nobody knows what branding is. So I'm like, I'm a designer, I'm in marketing. But that's not, that's like 20% of what was going on back then. But I didn't have the right words to it. And I was so worried about doing it wrong, so afraid of the judgment of, well, you left corporate and you're doing what now? I was so worried about what everybody else thought. I was hiding so much of who I was, so much of what I really could do for people. And I was reaching for that lowest common denominator. I'm like, if I can get them to do a business card, then I could help them with a logo, then I could help them with a plan, then I can actually help them with their brand. And so, yeah, probably 3 years, maybe four, why I went, this is ridiculous. I'm working too hard. I'm working way too many hours. Too many people are in charge of me. And I left corporate so that I could be in charge of myself.
Okay.
And so I thought, I just need to figure out how to speak about what I do. and why I do it, and let that passion come through and let who I really am come through. And what I've noticed is that my brand, my persona, is one of the greatest sorting tools ever. Because if you don't like me, awesome, choose out. Go find someone who you really do mesh with. So by hiding who I was working with people who, ugh, they made me tired. They kind of make you twitchy and they just weren't my favorites. But the more I let myself come out, the more I spoke very specifically about what I did and how I help people, the more began attracting those people who really lit me up. I mean, like I said, it's been 15 years and I'm still just, I get to do this. So that's kind of the story. It took some time and it took some courage. Um, and it's ever evolving too. That's the really cool thing about being an entrepreneur, I think, Olu, is it gets to grow with you. So if you shift, if your ideal client shifts, if your focus shifts, awesome. Like just do it your way and do it big, crank it to 11, and it's going to work great. It's going to work great.
Oh my, I just love that. Crank it to 11.
Absolutely.
Wow, let's go. Wow. Okay, so you were doing business cards for people
Yeah.
when you left corporate.
Yep.
What does that
That
feel
was
like?
the easy in. Oh, that was the easy in because everybody needed a card. I mean, this is back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, early 2000s. I'm like, how old am I? Early 2000s. And everybody had a business card and nobody wanted to put their face on it. And I'm like, you have to put your face. The whole reason for a card is that recognition, right? So it it's what I call 20 bucks the hard way. Is it doesn't matter if it's 20 bucks or 20,000 bucks or $200,000. If it doesn't light you up, it is 20 bucks the hard way. And it will drain your soul. It will just suck all of the joy out of what you're creating and make you, that's part of what makes us question ourselves, I think. That gives us the doubt. So yeah, it was hard. I mean, I was doing web design, I was doing other graphic design stuff. And anytime they were like, well, what do you charge? And I wanted to be able to have the investment higher because I'm a brand strategist. But the way I talked about it was a $15 an hour graphic designer.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay, the disconnect there is totally on me. When I talk about myself like this, I'm asking them to pay me by the hour.
mm,
I'm asking them, I'm inviting them and leaving an opening for them to question
mm-hmm,
the investment and question my value.
mm-hmm,
But if you talk about it more confidently, if you speak to what you really love doing and where your genius is,
mm,
I mean, it ain't bragging if it's true, right?
mm-hmm,
You can say, I'm really good at this.
mm-hmm,
And you can ask for that and you can demand that kind of value and investment for what you're doing because of the results that you're causing.
mm-hmm,
You just have to be brave enough to claim it.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Wow.
I'm so glad I'm done.
Wow. You just haven't been brave enough to claim it. I love these words.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. So take us through the process of you charging $20 or
Yeah.
making business cards for people and then being able to claim what you're worth. How did that happen for you?
Um, That's a really great question. Thank you. I struggled until I got a coach, until I got a mentor that could look at me and go, "Why are you saying you're a graphic designer? You're not." I mean, it's one of those things like I can do that, but you've heard those four, like the zone of genius, the zone of excellence, and really graphic design is in my zone of excellence. I'm really good at it, but it doesn't light me up.
Mm,
And so I can help people with that. And often if I take on a one-on-one client, I'll help them with their visual brand because it matters and it's important. But to say that, so I had to have someone 100% in my corner saying, you can do this, figure it out.
mhm,
And I had to also be open to changing everything that I was saying, everything that I was doing.
mhm,
One of the things I think where people get stuck is they say, well, this is what I've been saying for 3 years. How do I just shift that? People are going to be confused.
mhm.
Not as bad as you think,
Yeah.
because the people who have been listening to you for A don't want B.
Mhm,
And when you start speaking to B,
mhm,
the A people go away and the B people come in. And
mhm,
honestly, it was more of an issue for me, I think, to let go of that old vocabulary, that old way of speaking than anybody I was working with.
Mhm.
And I still keep a couple of clients that I've been working with now for 15 years. I do little stuff for them because we're friends at this point. We've known each other forever. They've held my baby. So it's a little bit different. But the really, honestly, the first step I think was getting someone in my corner, someone who could let me just speak to everything that scared me,
Mhm.
everything that excited me,
Mhm.
and then realizing that I got to up level where I was networking.
Mhm.
Because if I'm in a group that wants to spend $45 to print business cards and can't imagine investing $12,000 in their own business,
Mhm.
I'm in the wrong place.
Mhm.
It's that simple.
Mhm.
So I got to go find those places where I could be in that community
Mhm.
of, no, we're doing serious business and we're not overcharging. We're simply charging for the results that we're causing.
Mhm.
We get to claim that value for them and for us. And we get to hang out with people who understand that they are worth that investment.
Mhm.
Like instead of the people going, I don't want to spend more than 20 bucks, I could probably do it by myself. I'll just figure it out.
Mhm.
But realizing that there are people who are like, no, I'm going to go change the world.
Mhm.
And I know I get to have people with me who do that. So it's part of when I talk about legend work. Legends aren't made on their own.
Mhm.
That's not how it works.
Mhm.
You get to have people around you in a community, in a network. You get to have a coach or a mentor who believes in you so big that they can see what's possible even more than you could dream about.
Mhm.
And that's really where I find my sweet spot
Mhm.
is like, let's talk about what you're dreaming. And then we're going to amp that up. We're going to crank it to 11. We're going to 10X it, or whatever that looks like for you. It's let's decide what that looks like for your particular adventure, your journey.
Mhm.
And that I think was the other thing is not having to work within the confines of some pre-described plan of, well, this is how you do this is how you are an entrepreneur.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is the road work. It has to be hard first. No, it doesn't. Not when you surround yourself with good people.
Mhm.
Not when you're clear about what you want and honest about it and claim it and say,
Mhm.
this is what I'm going to go do in the world.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be that hard,
Mhm.
especially when you've got people who have your back, who will actually lock arms and lock heart and souls with you and say, not only do we have you, we will not let you fall. We may slow down for a second. We don't have to sprint the whole time.
Mhm.
We will not let you fall.
Mhm.
And that's part of the legend work that I am just so passionate about. It's absolutely beautiful the way people light up when they know they're not alone,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
And we're built for community. We thrive in community.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. I just love what you're doing. And now I want to go back again to, so you moved your shift positioning. This was literally shifting from, was it online group or physical groups? From the small mindset people to
Mhm.
people that are trying to create legendary work. Give us
Yeah.
an idea of what that meant.
Oh, a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
Like it's not something that happens overnight.
Mm-hmm.
We see these things that are like, oh, it's an overnight success. They have been busting their buns for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
before they suddenly burst out onto the scene. There's no such thing as overnight. Anybody who says differently is lying to you. it
Good.
it takes some trial and error,
Yeah.
especially because we may think we want one thing and then we get into it and go, oh, well, not okay, just kidding. Let me try something else. I was wrong. I thought I wanted that, but I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so part of it was busting out of the traditional corporate networking
Mm-hmm.
because they set it up for entrepreneurship, but there were certain behavioral things, and it was a very transactional networking.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my referral, here's my thank you, here's the $20 for this, or here's the $2,000 for this, and it felt so cold, and there were no relationships being built.
Mm-hmm.
It was we had to transfer this kind of money and do this kind of work with each other without a relationship being built. And I didn't like that. And so I broke out of that. I tried some different women networking groups because, they say women network differently than men, which is totally true.
Mm-hmm.
But some women like to network and then it becomes so community that they forget they're building businesses. They forget that they're here to make money. It's okay to make money. It's okay to make a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
because good people do amazing things with money.
Mm-hmm.
So make $1 million, make 10 million, whatever it is you need to change the world in your way.
Mm-hmm.
So try some of those. And really, the more confident I got about speaking to who I was, the more confident I got to, if I walk into a space and it doesn't feel good, I'm leaving. I don't, there's that, I think it's called a sunken cost fallacy.
Mm,
Well, I've already put money into it. I have to stay. No.
mm,
If it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't light you up, let it go. Just walk out. Walk out of the movie halfway through if you don't care how it ends. It is cathartic to be able to do. The first time I did that, I went, I feel like such a rebel. But then I realized I'm in charge of my own time.
yes.
I don't have to sit here and watch this terrible show because I started it. Just let it go. Just let it go. The same way is true about clients. The same thing is true about networking. If
Mhm,
it doesn't feel right, because there's sometimes we think it's an ideal client.
mm,
We're super careful. And either we don't see the red flags or we ignore the red flags,
yeah.
or we're not wise enough to realize that it is a red flag.
It is a red flag. Yeah.
So 6 months into it, we're like, okay, somebody has to save me because this is really terrible. And what's really amazing is you get to save yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to do it. You don't have to wait for anybody to come do that. Realize that there is something better out there. If
Mhm,
this doesn't feel good, just it's okay to stop for a second. Like, this is a pause along that path to legend. Stop, take a breather, regroup, and then grab your legend pack and keep going. Figure out those people who are truly on your side, truly understand what drives you. Just because they're an entrepreneur doesn't mean they're at the same level of commitment, the same level of devotion. Not everybody has 60 hours a week to devote.
mhm,
Not everybody has 40.
yeah.
So part of that is creating a business plan that works with, if you have 10 hours, let's make that work. If you have 40 hours, let's make that work. So finding that community and being more confident, and this is my path.
Mm,
I get to run it the way I want to. And
mhm,
sometimes I'm going to skip and sing, and sometimes I'm going to walk backwards because the mood strikes. So
mm.
that's how I'm going to do it.
Love it.
So really I think that's the biggest part of it is don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to not be good at it at
Mm,
first,
mm,
right? Like,
mm.
cut yourself some slack and realize this is going to be uncomfortable. What I have found in the last 15 years is that my comfort zone isn't comfortable at all.
Mm,
It's routine and it's habitual and it's predictable,
mm.
but it's actually not comfortable because you know there's more out there for you,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And if you can let who you really are sing, the world will sing with you.
Mm,
We absolutely will sing in harmony with you.
mm. Wow, beautiful. Oh my God, it's just it's just really
I
so.
love what I do.
I know, I could tell. And viewers, I know you could tell that this one, she really loves what she does. So thank you for sharing so beautifully what
Of
you
course.
do and your heart with us. So now you moved from serving people that you weren't able to charge what you're worth, then you moved to charging what you're worth, right?
Uh-huh.
What was that like? I want to see for someone out there that is watching this, they have some income coming in from the business
Right.
and they're ready to scale. Okay. What happened for you? How did you scale your business?
Okay. There's a couple different things here, so take notes. One is you let go of those 20 bucks a hard way clients.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's hard because sometimes you're emotionally attached. And sometimes you think, well, but that's where I'm making my $5,000 this month, is by these smaller projects or by the ones that I'm charging a little less, but they want a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
What I learned very recently is I let go of a client that was about $80,000 in revenue a year. And I went, okay, and it had been coming, and it was a mutual, like, I'm like, I think you can going to be served better someplace else, because I realized that was like 8,000 hours, 800 hours. What's my math on that? It was way too much time doing something that didn't light me up. And so as much as I can look at that and go, I really missed that 80,000. What I found is that by taking all that time back, I doubled that revenue
Mm,
in about 6 months,
mm,
because I could call on those people who I loved what I did. I mean, think of all that time. I mean, there was you've had those clients where you're like, I would have been better off taking a nap than doing that project, right? Like, it would have been more fulfilling and frankly more profitable, because then I could have come back and really kicked some butt while I was moving forward.
yeah.
So that's one of them, is let go of the 20. the $20 a heart rate clients. Let go of the ones that don't serve you,
Mm-hmm.
because really, if you get honest with yourself, you're not serving them at that same level either anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So let them go.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is getting a network that supports you, that keeps you on task, that keeps that accountability going.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about checking in. Did you do this? You said you were going to do this. It's not, mothering, but it's how can we support you? Who can I introduce you to?
Mm-hmm.
What doors do I need to open for you
Mm-hmm.
so that you can say, get what you said you wanted?
Mm-hmm.
So that we hold ourselves very capable of
Mm-hmm.
doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is systems, because there's only so many hours in the day. And at some point, if you don't have automation in place,
Mm-hmm.
you can't scale.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do so many. One of the things that I would also consider anybody who is coaching or doing any kind of teaching or anything like that, and one-on-one's easy and one-on-one is highly rewarding, consider your group coaching and consider on demand, because there are ways to nurture people and serve people that don't take your time in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big part of it. If you are looking at somebody who is a $4,000 a month client, but it's hit and miss, right? But if you get to where you're working with these people that you want to work with, and you can do your best work with them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you are your best self
Mm-hmm.
when you're serving them.
Mm-hmm.
They're higher end. So you end up with contracts for months at a time
Mm-hmm.
of $5,000 and $10,000. Sometimes it's $2,000 a month, but
Mm-hmm.
it's consistent for the next 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can take your $4,000 a month and you can budget that. Okay, now I've got, instead of having 30 clients to get my 4,000, I've got 3
Mm-hmm.
to get my 4,000,
Mm-hmm.
which means your time opens up and you can go get 3 more. And suddenly you're making your $10,000 a month. So from going from where I was a graphic designer and saying, oh, wow, okay, I made $40,000 this year. That's not enough for me and for what I wanted to create,
Mm-hmm.
to hitting my first quarter million,
Mm-hmm.
going, this is fun, this is good, and I can do bigger things. Like I said, good people do great things with money.
Yeah.
So it allowed me to expand internationally. So
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken on international stages. It allows you to be pickier and more selective
Mm-hmm.
about who you're working with as well. So owning that this is what I create and this is the value that I provide, these are the results that I cause. And I am not doing anyone a disservice by not taking those other jobs that don't light me up.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with designing business cards if it lights you up.
Yeah.
It used to light me up. It doesn't. So I don't do it. I
Mm-hmm.
have people. And that's the other thing I would tell you is find those people in your community that do those things that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about competition. You got to have that collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
You must have that, because that's really where the ebb and flow
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like this.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like this, and higher and higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing I would tell you is if you don't want to hit 6 figures, don't hit 6 figures. If you don't want to hit 7, don't give yourself a lot of shame about not hitting 7 figures.
Mm-hmm.
You get to grow and scale at your own path. If you are having inconsistency, I would dare bet part of it is because when you are not thrilled about what you're doing and who you're doing it for,
Mm-hmm.
you are less likely to do it. There's less consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are you doing it? Is it consistent? And are you delivering that experience that is so absolutely unforgettable and undeniably yours?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to getting your $10,000 months, $20,000 months, and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely magical.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I just love this. I have to keep track on the time, or else we're gonna go for an hour. Because I'm just loving this. I see a guitar behind you. This is just,
Oops,
you
the
know,
other way here. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, there we
yeah.
go.
Tell us what's that? What's that for?
I'm a musician at heart. I love it. I am more of a keyboardist than a guitarist, but a keyboard is way too big to be here in my office. It's in the other room. I'm a bona fide rock star. Have played on stage with rock stars, and I love it. And part of it is thinking about music and the way you create your brand
Yeah.
and how you start with the foundations and you add the layers onto it
Mm.
and get the harmony. You get your pips, you get all your background. It's on a deeper, okay, I'm going to share this on a different level. Music brings us together like nothing else does.
It's true.
It connects people in ways that I've never experienced in anything else. If you've ever been to a live concert of any kind of music, you realize that when the lights go down and the performers come out, they're doing their thing and they are sharing everything they have in their way, and it unites the audience. Like an hour ago, we were strangers,
Yeah.
and now we are one. And sorry, I got chills. Music is the only thing I've seen that can do that. Music's been a huge part of my life since I was very young. It brought my family together. It was something we did every single night as we'd gather around the keyboard while my father played. And so I've watched the way that even now we all come back. We're all grown and have kids and have spouses, and we come back, and it's the music that makes us go, oh, yeah, 40 years of memories and history and love and celebration.
Yeah.
You can't get that anywhere else.
Wow.
So it's partially this is here to remind me to keep the music in my head, the
Mm,
music in my heart,
mm.
because it keeps me pumping. It just keeps it driving.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I sing, but I don't do music like in the way you do it. I sing at church. And when I
Oh,
sing, I have chills, and I have this, beautiful, I just love singing. Okay. I just love singing, and just the way you explaining it, it's just reminding me of the experience that I enjoy and I create all the time. So thank you for bringing that into, and I could assume also that that helps with the way you're talking about community building and being yourself, like singing and music can just let you go all the way, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's the easiest way to tap into that very primal,
Yeah,
unapologetic.
yeah,
And really that's the big thing, although is no apologies,
yeah.
right? Rock stars don't apologize
Hmm.
for anything.
Yeah.
They come out on stage and they give everything they have.
Hmm.
No apologies necessary.
Hmm.
So stop apologizing for what you're doing. Stop apologizing for charging too much.
Yeah,
That's nonsense.
yeah,
Stop apologizing for not doing it the way everybody else does it.
yeah,
Claim your brilliance. Claim your own path to legend and run. Go change the world the way you want to. And I'll be there. I got you. We'll
yeah.
celebrate along the way.
That's it. That's it. I love. If you're watching this and you're feeling this, please just let it in. You're on fire, Amber. I'm really so grateful for this. Thank you.
Thank
Now I
you.
know you have a gift for our audience, and
Mhm.
and I'd love you to chat about that a little bit.
I do, and it really just lights me up. And I get to update it about every 6 months because something new comes up. Because again, branding is always growing, right? It's always shifting and evolving.
That's
So
true.
what I would love to offer anyone who is listening is it's I call it my 21 must-have aspects for your legend brand.
Mm,
It talks about those things that are very foundational. And if you're about to scale, then these are the things you get to have. And if you're going to legend and beyond, here's the stuff you get to have. And there's probably going to be stuff on there you're like, yep, got that, check that. What is that? And how do I get 10 of those? So it's really it's one of those that just is meant to get you thinking about what's possible. Like
yeah.
what really could happen in your world now if you just choose. If you get the right community that supports you, if you have somebody, it's in my Welcome to Legend group. And I'm in there all the time offering tips and feedback and support. It's free. So come on in, grab it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have questions. And I'll see you on the path.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed
My
our
pleasure.
conversation today. I always want to know, is there one last, because, sometimes I don't get all the questions right. Is there one last thing that you would just wish, people on the other end of the camera would hear from you today?
Yeah. You have to connect with your audience. And I don't mean surface connection, business card level connection.
Mhm.
It's about connecting to their hearts.
Mm.
It's about helping them think about themselves, their business, the world, just a little differently. And the only way to truly do that is to let who you truly are come out. You've got to have your persona in play, full, crank to 11, get loud with purpose, not just loud, with purpose,
Mhm.
because that is how you connect
Mhm.
in a way that long after you've left the stage, they're singing your song. They're still loving it. They're still remembering your words. They can hear your voice in their head. That's the unforgettable legend experience. It's a total legend move.
Wow. Get loud with purpose. I love that. Thank you so much, Amber, for doing this. I really appreciate
Absolute
the time
pleasure.
that we've had together today. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And viewers, don't forget, we're going to put a link to this so you can go get Amber's 21 must haves in your brand, right? In your legend brand.
In a legend brand.
Very,
Absolutely.
very good. And so you go get it and follow Amber. And yeah, love to hear your experience with Amber's work. Thank you so much for listening to Scaling with Confidence. If you'd like to be featured on this show, check us out at scalingwithconfidence.com/cashflow and attend my next live challenge where I'll reveal the 3 secrets to increasing your visibility for more profit. And if you're an entrepreneur that would like to be celebrated for your success, and be on this show, please visit scalingwithconfidence.com/guest. Keep shining. The world needs your light.